Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and once again, Lee Harris from Blue Marine Travel out of New Zealand. How are you, Lee?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Ria. Yeah, we are in the middle of a thunderstorm. So again, we were hoping we're going to be able to get through the interview first time.
we won't tell people that it's the second, but you know.
Only the second at the moment.
Yeah. Knock on wood, right? So, you know what? Last week we were talking about the fact that everything had slowed down. It was getting a little bit quiet out there. I mean, quieter than it had been. It hadn't stopped completely. But this week it's just been one cancellation after the other. The entire world, the travel world has gone absolutely insane once again because of lockdowns. What's going on?
Yeah, so further to last week's discussion with regards to France and Germany going into the second lockdown, they were quickly followed by both the UK and Belgium following suit, with Greece also announcing in the last few days that they would be heading into a lockdown too. As we discussed on the show, these restrictions do not stop seafarers from travelling. However, we have noticed this week that the knock-on effect of the lockdowns, basically airlines in Europe are drastically cutting their schedules due to only essential travel being allowed to take place at this time. This means that the majority of European airlines have cut their schedules to around 30% of their usual activity. Basically, what this means for seafarers at this moment in time is, due to the travel in the next few weeks, they are likely going to see cancellations or significant time changes to their already booked itineraries. It is important, what we would say is it's important to keep checking either with your travel agent at this time or on the airline's website to see if your flight is one of the many that have been affected. For example, we already know that British Airways have cancelled operations into and out of Cape Town from the 12th of November, and also their direct flight to Bermuda has been cancelled until at least December. British Airways have also announced they will be shutting their operations out of Gatwick Airport whilst they're in lockdown in the UK. So at this moment in time, everything is going to be moved into Heathrow, and so it just shows, you know, the limit they're going to be putting on the amount of flights if they can operate what they would normally operate from 2 airports into only 1.
That is quite significant for sure.
Yeah, it is, you know, and already this week we're only the first. Well, I mean, the UK only started on Thursday in lockdown, you know, and the amount of cancellations that we've seen this week, you know, it's almost like we, you know, 1 or 2 of our staff members just has to deal with the cancellations on their own before they can even look at new bookings. You know, that is the enormity of the amount of cancellations that we're getting at this moment in time.
Crazy. Well, hopefully this stage doesn't last that long, but of course, as we know in the past, it could be a few months.
It's just the unknown, isn't it? Again, you know, it sort of seems to be our sort of go-to word, you know, in travel. Everything is unknown. You know, the UK is saying it's going to be 3 weeks in the beginning of December, you know, and we're all going to come out, but I'm not quite sure how we can guarantee that's going to happen, to be honest with you. But you know, we'll carry on. We'll rise to the challenge, and we'll get people to where they need to get to.
Of course. So what's going on with Australia and New Zealand at the moment?
Yeah, so if we start with New Zealand, the travel voucher system, which we've discussed on this show before, Ria, it came into effect as a mandatory requirement from the 5th of November. Obviously, they had the month-long trial beforehand. However, now it's in place, this has brought a whole load of new problems for crew wanting to get home for Christmas. The managed isolation website where you are to get your vouchers to be able to fly, and remember, without a voucher you will be denied boarding, is now showing only vouchers available for the 25th of December. Every other date from now until December the 31st is blocked out already. I have spoken to the managed isolation and quarantine team here in New Zealand this week, and they've advised me that all crew can do is continually check the website to see if a cancellation becomes available for an earlier date. But I checked today, literally about half an hour before we done this interview, and like I said, the only date shown at the moment is the 25th of December.
So probably suggestive that if a crew member is wanting to travel back, that they just let somebody like you know and say, you know, we'd like to travel back if possible. Can you let us know if a flight comes up?
I mean, it's not so much the flights. The flights, you can see flights are available and we can book them in our system. They're not the problem with regards to New Zealand. It is just literally this managed isolation website where you have to get your voucher to spend your 14 days in quarantine. They're all out of vouchers. There's just nothing there to get you in. So obviously what we try and do is we hawk the website a little bit and see if anything becomes available, and if it does, we'll try and jump on it. But other than that, there's no other way of getting crew back into the country at the moment, even if they can find flights, which, like I said, they are available. The problem they've got is without this voucher, they won't be allowed to board on the flight.
Well, and what is the point really? Because if they have to go into quarantine for 2 weeks once they get home, you're put into quarantine by the government. So it's not like you're going straight home to see your family.
No, so basically, yeah. But what the government have done is, whereas before they were basically just taking the people straight off the flights, putting them into the quarantine, they're saying now that they've not got the capacity to take so many people coming in. So you have to apply for this voucher, which gives you, basically this voucher is your ticket to get into the quarantine. So without that ticket to get in there, and you can't show that at check-in for your flight, they won't let you in, because New Zealand government are saying, with no voucher in, you've not got a place in quarantine, you can't come into the country.
So unless you have, not only the voucher, but as well a month and a half to 2 months off, there's really no point in going back anyways, because once you get there, if you've only got 2 weeks off the boat, well, there's no point. You're pretty much putting out all this money. You go into quarantine for 2 weeks, don't see your family, and then you've got to jump on a plane and go back to your boat.
Exactly right. Yep. And if you, and they're also saying as well, if you're not staying in the country more than 90 days, then obviously you've got to pay for your quarantine as well.
Wow. Yeah, you know what? I mean, Christmas, I think this year is going to be pretty much a bust. I put something on social media the other day. I think if you have a funeral, you can have 30 people. So I'm suggesting people kill the turkey and have a funeral on December 25th.
I think it's going to be the only way you're going to see your family, isn't it? Especially in Europe at this time. It's extremely tough. There was this story in the paper, and I'm not quite sure how it was. This UK guy who had basically set his family up as a company. And so, and was saying that the company could only work from the one address, and that was his way of getting all his family around for Christmas.
You know what? I think people are going to be coming up with some really, intelligent ways of sort of circumventing the rules. But at the end of the day, is that not more harm than it is good, realistically?
It is, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, people just need to try and abide the rules, I guess, for the time being. All right, it may mean a different Christmas for people mostly this year, but if we keep trying to circumnavigate it, we're never going to get on top of it, are we? So,
yeah, it's best just to do what you're told and just get on with it. I think if we had all been doing exactly what we should have been doing with the social distancing, et cetera, for the last 6 months, we wouldn't be seeing this uptick. And I think that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think so. Probably, isn't it? It's unfortunately, some people. I don't know. I guess it's human nature, isn't it? You maybe fight against the system a little bit too much, and sometimes that's okay, and then other times it maybe puts you back a step or two, and that seems to be the case this time.
Well, we are humans after all, and we do crave that human interaction. Well, most people do. I'm not most people. I don't crave that human interaction, but normal people do crave that.
I disagree, Ria. We're having human interaction now.
Yes, but this is the way I like it the best, over a screen. What's going on in Australia?
Yeah, so Australia, obviously, completely the opposite with New Zealand. Whereas New Zealand, you can get flights, but you can't get your voucher. Australia, it's almost impossible to get seats now, again, until Christmas. We've been looking again this week. We've had numerous requests of people trying to get back. And unless you've got an exorbitant amount of money to pay for a business class ticket, it's looking increasingly difficult to get back. The one thing I wanted to say with regards to Australia is I've seen that airlines are now starting to show flights being available back into Melbourne again. Now, we've spoken about Melbourne on this show before, and they'd actually closed down the airport. Now, as of the time of this interview, Melbourne is still closed for international travel. So anybody who is looking at the Melbourne flights and thinking that they're going to get back into the country, please be aware, as of this time, Melbourne International Airport is not taking international flights. So you may well book a ticket, but it doesn't mean to say you're going to be traveling home. Now, the last information that we have is that they've got discussions due to take place on the 24th of November. But again, I'm going to reiterate, there's no guarantee they will reopen international travel. So if you are booking a ticket, please make sure you're aware.
Shouldn't that be illegal?
Like false
advertising.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it all the way through this. Certain airlines are offering tickets to countries or to towns or to cities, or to airports that they know full well that they can't do. whether this is airlines hedging their bets or whether they've been given some information prior to say that it's going to be open up, which I doubt very much, bearing in mind the discussions aren't going to be until the 24th of November. I'm not quite sure. But it does seem strange that this last week or so that we have seen Melbourne flights, international flights into Melbourne open up again. So, I just want to make people aware that, even if you are booking them, please do your research. Like I said, it's not open, so you may be severely disappointed.
Yeah, things like that, sometimes it makes you a little bit angry. It's like, and to get your money back then from something like that, I mean, how long would that take? If you book this flight that actually doesn't even exist because it's not allowed, how long would it take you and how much headache would it take you to get your cash back?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it, as well? I mean, I would say probably on a good day, you're looking at 6 weeks to get your money back. And that's being generous to the airlines, 6 weeks. You could run into months, easily run into months. But I mean, even offering these flights, and at least put a disclaimer on it to say, look, we're offering these flights in the hope that the airport's going to be open, but there's no guarantee. And then it gives people the opportunity to decide, hang on a minute, okay, I can afford to take the risk. And if it doesn't work out, I can await from a refund, or I've only got set amount to get myself back home. If I pay for this flight and it doesn't operate, then I'm stuck for the 6 weeks until I get the money back. There should be that option, or the airlines should at least give people the full information with regards to what's going to be happening with that flight.
Well, hopefully that will change in the future. It would be the right thing to do, but hey.
We can hope, I guess. That's all we can do. And also we hope that as from the 24th of November that the flights do start operating anyway.
Yeah. South Africa, we have to touch on that topic because, I mean, actually South Africa was one of the hardest places to get in and out of for the longest time, but it looks like things aren't so bad there now.
Yeah, so especially with regards to crew travel, like you say, for a good while, it was closed only for the repatriation flights, which was a bit of a headache for crew trying to get back into the country, and also for travel agents trying to organise them. But since they've come out of it, the October time, it's been going rather smoothly, I've got to say. We've not heard that they had that slight blip at the beginning where there was a disagreement between the airlines and the government, but they got over that quite quickly within 2 or 3 days. And since then, touch wood, it's been going rather smoothly. The only issue, like we said earlier, was regards to the British Airways flight into and out of Cape Town, but that's more to do with the UK lockdown. That's nothing to do with South Africa's side. So fingers crossed, hopefully they've got on top of it, and travel's going well.
Well, that is good news for South African crew for sure. We have crew questions this week. What's up with that?
Yeah, we did actually. It was a guy from, it's actually with regards to South Africa as well. So we received a question this week from Johannes, who is currently in South Africa. Basically, what he's wanting to know is if there's going to be any direct flights opening between South Africa and the USA anytime soon. Now, the good news for Johannes is that as from the 8th of January, Delta Airlines will be bringing back their popular Johannesburg to Atlanta direct route. This is going to operate 3 times a week, but as of yet, the days have not been confirmed. So obviously, this is good news for South African crew looking to head back out for the US season or the Caribbean season, because obviously currently at this moment in time, they either have to fly into Europe and then across, or they have to fly to the United Arab Emirates and then across.
That's quite the route.
It is indeed. So yeah, this is going to be definitely welcome relief, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, you know what? I mean, it's always a pleasure to have you on, Lee, and to get caught up. And once again, obviously, it's just highlighting how quickly things change and how necessary it is to have you here to chat about what's going on in the world with crew travel.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be on here. I thoroughly enjoy it each week. And like we say, just if we can just give the information to the crew who are out there, because again, we said this right at the start, it is scary times for crew. They're having to go out to work. They're having to, earn a living, going to countries they may never have been to before. They don't know the rules and regulations with regards to normally entering the country, let alone with all the COVID stuff on top of it. So, if we can give a little bit of a peace of mind or just information in general on a weekly basis, then that's great.
Well, you know what? For those out there, I would definitely recommend following Lee Harris on LinkedIn. I know you love it when I say that, but it's true because you have, so many updates every single day on the travel situation for crew. So follow Lee Harris on LinkedIn as well. We'll provide all the details for Blue Marine Travel underneath. Do get a travel agency that works within crew travel. It doesn't have to be Blue Marine travel, but it is the wisest decision to go that way, just for the simple fact that it is a minefield out there when it comes to crew travel right now. It doesn't matter where you're from. It's pretty much straight across the board. It is a minefield. And if you really want to go home to see your family for Christmas, or you really need to get to your next job, don't risk the idea that you're going to lose your money or not get your money back for 2 months as a result of, going online and trying to do it on the cheap.
Yeah, for sure. It's tricky times. Travel is tricky at this moment. There's no two ways about it. It's not easy. Our staff are not finding it easy. You've got to come up with new ways to get people to where they need to get to. And we're doing it. And we've been in travel, on average about 15 years between, all of us. And we don't find it easy. So for crew to go online and try to book stuff themselves with everything that's going on as well, there is a good chance that they'll come unstuck. And if they need to be at a yacht, which is time sensitive, people, crew changes and all the rest of it, don't take the risk. That would be my advice. And like we say, you don't have to book through us. We never force people to do that, but make sure you can try and find yourself a good crew travel agent at this time, because they are essential.
Wonderful. Well, once again, Lee, we look forward to these weekly sessions. Thank you again. And as I said, we will provide all the information below this interview. I hope you have a great week, Lee.
Thank you so much, and you too.
Thank you. You've been watching another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I've been your host. Please tune in again next week.